Hello there everybody, What Culture Wrestling's Adam Cleary here, and wasn't Clash of Champions average? There were some good bits, there were some bad bits. People are still trying to make up their minds as to whether or not it was a good show, but me personally, I'm really more positive than I should be on a Monday morning. I thought it was good. Well, I mean, I say good, parts of it were definitely good, weren't they? Like, I like the fact that Luke Harper came back because I like Luke Harper, and I thought Becky versus Sasha was good because I like Becky and I like Sasha, and I also like, I do kind of like this whole hi to your mother's gimmick that Styles and Gallows and Anderson are doing. It's just, I don't know what's going on there, but I like it. Anyway, one thing I definitely do like, though, is the amount of effort and time and thought that goes into the costumes that WWE superstars wear these days, and not a single pay-per-view passes by without a few curiosities and a few interesting tales behind their attire. Which is why this has become quite a fun little series we've started doing. Basically, we go through all the costumes, and anything that's interesting or out of the ordinary, we unpick, although not literally, because that would be quite problematic. We unpick the detail behind them to tell you the story that went into creating them. Sometimes it's like, that's funny, but sometimes it's really, really clever, and there are, I can promise you, a few really clever ones. So without further ado, my name is Adam Cleary, and this is all the hidden meanings behind the Clash of Champions attire. Number 12. Alexa Bliss. Basically, Alexa Bliss is back on the whole Harley Quinn vibe, but not like the Margot Robbie, Tiny Little Hot Pants, Suicide Squad. Your boyfriend really likes Harley Quinn, and the version that I wore for Halloween last year, but the Arkham games Harley Quinn, the slightly more maroony, reddy, evilly black eye makeup Harley Quinn from those games. That's what this is channeling. Now, as I say, there might not be any particularly exciting reasons behind that, but on the one hand, Harley Quinn is back in the whole sphere of things because Birds of Prey's trailer has just dropped, and there's been the new Suicide Squad announcement, of which Margot Robbie will be reprising her role in that as well. So, I guess, I don't know, Harley's back in town, Alexa's back in town, there's something there. And just quickly before we move on, Nikki Cross did thank JJ Wrestling Creations on Twitter for making her gear, which is pretty much the same sort of aesthetic, does definitely match Alexa Bliss, but still has that big Scottish cross on it because her surname is Cross and she is Scottish. Number 11, Humberto Carrillo. White and gold is something of a blessed colour scheme, isn't it, when it comes to winning titles in WWE. Shawn Michaels famously did it at WrestleMania that time, and more recently you had all in one night, The New Day, Bayley and Seth Rollins all coming out decked in white and gold, and then lo and behold, having a career-defining night. And Carrillo has been wearing this colour scheme on 205 Live en route to what was last night the biggest showcase of his entire career. So we all felt sure, didn't we, that he was probably going to win it, but then he didn't actually win it. So you might need to rethink that one going forward, but these are historically the colours of success in WWE, of new dawns and new eras that are adorned with championships. So maybe something's in the pipeline for him. Number 10, the OC. Now, sadly, they haven't quite gone down the whole hello there to your mother's angle in terms of their attire just yet, but you would expect some really, really awful t-shirt to be on WWE Shop in the near future, given their official Twitter account is now embracing the gimmick. But anyway, you will have noticed when the three of them lined up on top of the ramp before AJ Styles' match, they were all decked out in matching red and black gear. Now, this one isn't exactly a really deep or clever bit of symbolism, but their whole thing they're doing now going forward is we run the red brand. So all of their costumes are now red. They're going to be red on TV tonight, they're going to be red next week, they'll be red by Hell in a Cell. They are going with the red thing to really lock down the fact that they're in charge of Monday Night Raw. It's their show, apparently. Plus, might just be me, I think that looks cool. Number 9, Cedric Alexander. Yeah, it was a bit of an odd one, this one, wasn't it? Because this looked for all the world like a really obvious match of the night contender. AJ Styles versus Cedric Alexander. Give them 15 minutes, put them in the middle of the card to really get some energy back in the crowd, because it's his hometown and these two were excellent in the ring. But no, it was weird. It was really short. It was on the pre-show. And that'll have been especially disappointing to Alexander because he went and got special gear made for the occasion. It's basically exactly the same as his usual ring gear, except it's teal, it's silver, and it's purple, which is, come on, you know this, those are the colours of the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets basketball team. I do actually watch the NBA, so I don't know why I'm struggling with that one. Yeah, it's the Hornets. He's wearing the Hornets colours. It's his hometown, which is nice. Or it would have been had Styles not taken the sting out of him. Hey, I'm so sorry. Number 8, Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Still a bit confused by this one, why they've just thrown a tag team together out of 2 single stars when you've got all these good tag teams currently on Raw. But yes, I know, remember the story. Paul Heyman wanted to give Bobby Roode something to do because Bobby Roode had nothing to do, and Bobby Roode is really, really good. But I think what showed the folly of this was the fact that neither of these two had any chemistry together in this match. But to try and offset the fact that they are an unlikely tag team thrown together from two single stars, when you have got a whole queue of good tag teams waiting in the wings, they at least gave them matching ring attire to try and make them look like a proper tag team. So I guess you could say that the hidden meaning behind this is that they're not a tag team, but they were trying to look like one while trying to pretend to be one. Also, I will say, I think this looks really cool, and I think they'll do some good stuff with the belt if they can get some synergy. Number 7, Charlotte Flair. Yes, the traditional Flair purple was offset by this lovely, lovely teal lettering just to kind of really get the Charlotte Hornets thing over again. I tell you what I will say is she probably doesn't even need to wash it for the next time she's in town, given that it got such little action last night. I would be surprised if there was a drop of sweat on that. Number 6, Bayley. Yes, just like the character of Bayley herself at the moment, her attire had absolutely loads going on last night, with not a whole lot of it making loads of sense. Alright, so first off, she had black and gold on, which Bayley has worn in the past, and specifically sort of that Iron Man costume she had, which might be a callback to the biggest night of her career, allegedly, but also because loads of people had gold on because, well, it is Clash of Champions when all the gold is on the line. She also had the words role model on her tights, which is just... I kind of get why this is clever, because she was always a role model and now she's a heel for the first time. She's like, it's like, do you remember that MTV Awards that time when Eminem was getting all that heat for like talking about drugs in songs, and parents were like, oh my god, I can't have little Jimmy listening to Eminem, and he came out with a big t-shirt that just said role model on it. I'll let you in a little secret, I've considered getting that exact same t-shirt made for myself because I am an arsehole basically, but it doesn't work, this joke, for me. No, bad. But the one thing that I did think was quite clever was that she capped it all off with this blue trim and a blue headband. If you're struggling to work out what that means, it's Sasha Banks, because remember, she ripped her wig off and she had blue hair, so that is a bit of solidarity with Sasha Banks. That is saying that they are, like, whatever this means, stuck. Number 5, The New Day. Right, okay, I'll be honest with you, about 90% of the reason we love doing this article is because the New Day are in it every single time, and we get to talk about precisely how good, how clever, and how brilliant their attire is. And before I start, I just want to say yet another shout out to Jonathan Davenport, whose Instagram is always full of the meanings and the interpretations and the inspiration behind these things, and you should absolutely 1000% check out if you have either A, Instagram, or B, any joy in your life whatsoever. The man is a prince, in my opinion. And the thing is, this is attire that carries a backstory to it, but a backstory only a tiny, tiny, tiny few people, either watching the broadcast or in the crowd, or even watching this video, will likely understand. So I'll take great pleasure in explaining it to you now. Okay, and Jonathan Davenport has confirmed this for us himself. The inspiration behind this, brace yourself for this, that is the carpet of the Marriott Hotel. Yep, I'm not even making that up. It's the carpet of the Marriott Hotel, which is the location of Dragon Con, which is an event that Xavier Woods likes to attend every single year. Here he is, cosplaying as the Iconics with his friend, I'm going to get this right, Mikhail Mosley. Mikhail Mosley. Anyway, they're the Iconics. The event and the hotel are a huge staple in the cosplaying community, and anybody who goes to that event or even follows what's going on with it will immediately know precisely what that's supposed to be, but that is still a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction. It's a little joke that's going to really pop a small number of people, which is like the entire modus operandi behind our humour here in the What Culture office. So I've got a lot of time for this, my favourite. And why the carpet, I hear you ask? Well, because it recently got replaced in that hotel, and it broke the hearts of every single person who had been attending that convention for years and years and years and years. It was part of the iconic feel of the convention, and then the hotel were like, it's a bit scruffy that. Yeah, let's change it. And didn't consult the nerds. You always consult the nerds. And just one last tiny thing about this, away from the carpet aesthetic, you will notice that they are all individually coloured. Xavier Woods is in blue, Kofi Kingston is in orange, and Big E is in red. So what's that about? What's the thinking behind that? Well, Sonic the Hedgehog. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. Remember SumSam 2018? They had Sonic-themed things. Those are the characters they selected for their game as Sonic. Xavier Woods was Sonic, that's why he's in blue. Kofi Kingston was Tails, that's why he's in orange. And Big E was Knuckles, that's why he's in red. I love these three. I don't ever want them to go away. Number 4, the Revival. Maybe pushing the definition of like a hidden secret behind the attire on this one, but it is definitely interesting nonetheless. You will notice the Revival had their own custom arse patches for this match, and they are destined to be on a bad t-shirt in the near future. As well as the FTRKO thing, which I always struggle to remember, across their dicks, they've got this big picture on the back of a Viper flanked by 2 attack dogs, which basically symbolises that they're like Randy Orton's boys now, aren't they? They kind of worship it a bit. It's a bit fawning, it's a bit icky, it's a bit like, I don't know, it's a bit weird for me anyway, but it's a nice, well, nice as WWE gets in terms of its graphic design. It's a smart logo. It's probably going to be a bit of a thing going forward, and if it's on their arse, it's kind of hidden. It's my list. Number 3, Eric Rowan. Now, we have done this one a lot since he came back because Eric Rowan just likes to wear the t-shirts of metal bands as his ring attire now. And there's always not a story behind them per se, but it's always interesting just to look at who exactly he is promoting. But this time, there is something of a story behind it. If you think about it, like, he turned his back on Daniel Bryan recently, didn't he? Put him through that table, he's gone out on his own, he's attacked Roman Reigns. The man is doing his own thing, free of the shackles, you might say, of his former mentor, his former friend. And the band is Norwegian rock outfit Enslaved. So there's something there for me that is just, you know, you could have worn any band's t-shirt for that, but Enslaved right after he's just cast off his sort of master. I think that's quite clever, mate. I think he knows what he's doing there. Oh, sorry, just getting something in from my director in my ear. Apparently I called them a Norwegian rock band when they're in fact black metal. Yes, apparently that's very important. Number 2, Sasha Banks. Yes, fair play to Sasha Banks here. Her promo ahead of this show was all about her being the talk of WWE, and within literally seconds of her walking out onto that stage and everybody seeing her costume, she was the talk of WWE. Fair play. It was the red of Raw and the blue of SmackDown augmented with a glittering gold to show that no one brand or no one championship can define this new version of the Boss. She said she wants it all, and here she was indeed wearing it all. It's really clever, that. It shouldn't be. That should be really basic, but I think that's really clever. Number 1, Becky Lynch. Right, so on the kickoff show, Becky Lynch said she'd had the greatest 12-month run in WWE history, casting our minds back to the Charlotte match, which started around this time last year, which kind of kicked off the whole the man thing. But what she did with her ring gear, right, there's a reason this is number 1, because it's so goddamn smart. If you think about her ring gear now, it's all like black and leathery and kick-ass with a yellow trim and all that. It's a bit Kill Bill, it's a bit Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's really, really cool. But if you think all the way back to not just 12 months to 18 months, 24 months, when she was getting pushed down, wasn't getting TV time, wasn't getting pay-per-view matches. I think we'd have that big stat that she hadn't won on pay-per-view, if you mentally discount Luchador the Explorer. She hadn't won on pay-per-view for like 2 years. If you think back to her steampunk, sort of post-steampunk ring gear around that time, it was all bronze and like bolty, wasn't it? It was awful. She's brought it back. And this is basically a big dig at Sasha Banks and a big dig at Charlotte Flair and a big dig at the entire company. Basically saying, look, do you remember me now? Do you remember the person who you pushed down? Do you remember the person who you were getting opportunities instead of? You remember her? Do you remember her? Because she's the champion now. She's gonna kick your ass. And the really clever thing about this, if you cast your mind all the way back to it, was the triple threat match they had at WrestleMania. The historic triple threat match where they binned off the Divas Championship and had a women's championship between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks. And Mattel, the toy company, immortalized this historic moment with 2 collectible figures of Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks. And what was the ring gear Becky Lynch was forgotten about while wearing? Just one of many setbacks Becky Lynch has fought through to be where she is today. The history maker, the game changer, all that stuff she goes on about. And she is reminding everybody, Banks especially, about where she has come from. That is one of the cleverest ones we've ever had on this show. I absolutely love that. Bravo, bravo, bravissima, etc., etc. So there you have it. Let us know what you make of all of this in the comments below. And hell, we only finished watching the pay-per-view a couple hours ago, so if you've spotted any in the meantime with your much fresher eyes than mine, let us know down there as well. In the meantime, though, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I have, of course, been Adam Cleary. The hidden meaning behind my attire is that I am still secretly a big goth, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.